South Florida home prices are holding strong despite all the pressures on the market and sales being down. It's very impressive to see, and it shows the desire that so many people have to be in South Florida. What I want to do here is go over our mid-year report. Every year, throughout the year, we put out monthly reports, and then twice a year here at Lamacchia Realty, we put out mid-year reports on the first 6 months of the year, and then obviously an annual report every January. I spent a lot of time yesterday taking a look at this mid-year report for South Florida for all 3 counties, Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade. And I want to show it to all of you and talk to you about some of the things that I'm seeing, as well as show you monthly updates that we put out so you can see what's going on with inventory. The good news is there are more homes to choose from. That's good news for home buyers. That's also good news for home sellers who are also buying, because then you can better see where you're headed to. But if you're strictly a seller, it might be a little bit of a frustrating time because it is harder to sell, especially if you have a condo in an older building, given all of the condo guidelines. So let's take a look at the first report that I'm going to show you, which is over. I'm going to jump over to that page and I'm going to show you, this is our South Florida mid-year housing report. Take a look at this here, and I'm going to walk you through the highlights of it. I'm not going to bore you with every detail, but let's take a close look at this. And you can see on this image, I want to make sure that you can see it on this image, home sales are down by about 7%. Okay, there was about 37,000 and change home sales in South Florida in those 3 counties in the first 6 months of the year compared to 40,000 last year. And remember, last year was down from the years prior. So there's no denying that we are in a housing sales slowdown. But look at average prices. So interesting to see this. $800,000 average sale price in South Florida over the 3 counties for all housing types, single families, condos, multifamilies, $800,000. And a year ago, it was $714,000. So for those of you home buyers that keep waiting for prices to come down, it's proving to be much more challenging for you because that's not really happening. You know, you're waiting for something that isn't really happening. And part of the reason it isn't happening is the inventory levels. And I want to talk about this for a minute. I'm just looking at what reports I want to show you. Take a look at this here. South Florida number of homes sold by month. This is year to date. This year is obviously in yellow. And then you look at 2023's purple, 2022's in red, and then the turquoise lines, 2021, you can see that was clearly the peak year for the amount of home sales. So if we look here, almost every month year to date, but not all, is down compared to the same month year prior. April was an anomaly where total sales were up. But every other month, it was either even, as you can see from my cursor, even in January and February, down in March, up in April, down in May, down substantially in June. And just so you all know, we saw that across the country. Here's the amount of closed sales in Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach. You can see anywhere between sales being down 4 to 8% is how much they're down. Price increases up 13%, which was frankly surprising for me to see. And if you look at the yellow line, 2024, you can see that prices were up in each and every month. This is a good thing to see if you're a homeowner. You should be excited about that, but you have to wonder what is to come. And to figure out what is to come, we always take a look at what is going on with homes listed and with active inventory and pendings. So here I am taking you over to another report that we have that we update monthly. And this is the homes listed report for Florida, South Florida. You can see that the yellow line is 2024 and the amount of homes listed is down pretty much every month. Only 10,000 homes listed in all 3 counties in the month of June. Last year, it was closer to 11. The years before, it was much more. other than 2023. 2023 was lower. So the amount of homes listed is starting to go back up again from the 2023 low, and I expect that to increase. Okay, now follow me along here. I don't want to lose everybody. Let's look at homes pending. You can see that the amount of homes pending is at a low. There isn't any question about that. Only 6,600 properties went pending in the month of June in South Florida. Now remember, I just showed you a slide that showed 10,000 listed. So only about 60% of what was listed got sold. And if you remember back, for those of you that pay attention long term, 2021, more than what was listed was getting sold, and that's why inventory was going down. Let's have a look at that now. Active inventory. All of these slides can be found on lamacchiarealty.com. And if you want to go directly to these slides, flrealestateupdates.com. Let's have a look at 2020 and 2021. Each month, inventory was going down. Even if there were more properties listed, the amount selling was going down. We're in a different situation now. This yellow line of 2024 is clearly showing a consistent pattern of inventory going up. As of the end of June at midnight, June 30th, 38,000 homes for sale in South Florida. Now, if we jump back to the purple line, 2023, that's 23,000 homes for sale. So inventory has almost doubled in a 12-month period. That is a true difference. That shows the market is changing. That shows that a pricing correction is probably on the horizon. Now, that doesn't mean that I said pricing is going to fall. But if you look at the prior 3 years, okay, let's look at 23, 22 is in red, and 21 is in turquoise once again. Prior 3 years at this time, homes for sale was somewhere between 20 and 23,000. Now we're at 38,000 homes for sale. Folks, this is a big, big difference, okay? This means that things are going to go more in the buyer's favor, but they haven't just yet. And that's why if we look at average pricing for single families, it's the highest ever, okay? But if we look at the average pricing for condos, it's higher than it was in the prior years, but you can see it's not up as much. That, folks, tells me there is good news on the horizon for home buyers in South Florida. All of you buyers, those of you that have been in the market 3 or 4 years and just haven't found the right property or were frustrated with multiple offer situations, this should be welcoming news for you. You should be excited. Okay, this is going to help you. I also think an interest rate decrease is on the horizon 6 to 12 months from now. As that happens, it will be a better time to buy. For those of you that are homeowners that are thinking about selling, if you're not buying anything else and you're moving out of state, you need to sell sooner than later. And when you price your property, you need to price it accurately and aggressively compared to the properties in your market and in your neighborhood. Some of these average prices, you see average prices went up. What did I say? Let me take another peek. I believe I said average prices went up about, let me peek. I know I'm cheating by peeking, but there's a lot of data in my head and I don't want to make a mistake for you all. Average prices went up 13%. I just want to point out to you all, that number is a little bit skewed. And the reason it is skewed is there is a lot of new construction that contracts were signed for 2 and 3 years ago that is closing over the last 12 months. And there are transactions that were put together a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago that are closing now, and they're skewing the data. So if you're someone, I want to speak very directly, if you are someone who owns a condominium in a building that's, say, 30 years old, and let's say you paid $800,000 for it a year ago, if you're putting it on the market now and you haven't done any work to it, you are likely not selling for $800,000. So don't let those numbers that are being skewed by new construction fool you. You likely need to price the same amount or potentially a bit less. It's possible you could take a loss on it. I hate to speak negatively and to burst the bubble of some homeowners, but I have always prided myself in putting out extremely accurate, candid housing market advice for 2 decades now. So just have that in mind if you're pricing your property, that you need to be more aggressive. Home buyers, don't overplay your hand. With condos, you've got a bit more leverage. With single families, you have a little bit more leverage. Okay? This is a good time to buy because things have softened. The next 6 months will be, as we go through the next few months, an even better time to buy. If you buy now at a higher rate, you can refinance later. Okay, folks? That concludes my mid-year market update for South Florida. Please stay tuned in to LamacchiaRealty.com, FLRealestateUpdates.com. Keep an eye on the resources section of LamacchiaRealty.com and all of our housing data. When you see this video on YouTube or Facebook or some of the social media channels, we'll put the links to these in there. If you'd like to receive these videos as they go out on occasion, please hit the subscribe button and you will be notified. Thank you all. Stay tuned in and make sure if you're buying or selling, get in touch with a Lamacchia Realty realtor. They are here to serve you. Thank you.